When we compare ourselves to the standards of this world is very transactional in nature. It wants to get something from us, right? And what they want is performance, right behavior, success. This is the conditioning of the world that's out there. And they define our value and our worth through that lens and through that system. But when we look at God and who He is, He does not define us in that way at all. God looks at us through the lens of our human nature. He created us human. We are here to experience Him, to grow, to mature, to take responsibility, to fully understand what it means to be fully human. That's one of the greatest gifts that God has given to us. We are not here to escape our humanness, but to actually come in contact and into the reality of living in that state of humanness, if I can say it that way. But what I see is that I think in spirituality, especially, a lot of people are trying to escape their humanness as if it's something unclean, something dirty, something unworthy. Because we have been told in Christendom that we were all born with a sinful nature. What if I were to challenge that view and that isn't biblical at all? What if I were to tell you that in Genesis, the story is opening up to a context of a Mesopotamian world, and that Adam was the father of Mesopotamia, and we're dealing with a covenantal temple system that God and Adam's people came into agreement with. And through that system, we have this whole fixed, finite story of a covenant system in the Bible. And that in the Bible, that's what we are reading. That's what we are going into. And that through their lens and through the pact that they made, this agreement, what they did was, hey, if you come and we're in this relationship, there's a national treaty here made between the suzerain and the vassal and the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords with a vassal state like Adam in the Kingdom of Eden, that when you break this kind of agreement, that it was conditional, then you will have these things done to you. And this is what we call sin. If you break that covenant, the Bible is referring to that breaking of a sin. And so in that context, what we are recognizing and seeing is that in Genesis, the Bible is not saying ever that we were born into this sinful nature. Where do we get that idea? That idea came from the father of Western theology, and that was St. Augustine in the 400 AD. He started to develop his own theory and his own ideology through the biblical text. And let me remind you, he was struggling with his own sexual sin. He was struggling through that, and he was looking into the Bible through that lens. And while he was doing that, he is also reading the Bible, and he doesn't know the original languages. So he is interacting with a very ancient text that he's not even familiar with its original language. He is, very familiar with just Latin. That in itself was a big problem. So you compare 400 AD to where we are now, and this constant foundational teaching of Christendom has never left the church. And so now we have generations upon generations of people that continue to believe that we were all born with a sinful nature, when in actuality, we were all born with a human nature. And God is not surprised at all. We are to be human. And within that human nature, there is nothing that separates us from the love of the Father. Nothing whatsoever. If anything that is separating us from the love of the Father is our own conceptual belief system that we've carried. And many of us, we come from that Christian background or a very religious or strict or spiritual background that we think is saying that we are all, from sin, born from sin. But once we start to unpack that and realize that no, we are all born with a human nature, now we have something else to struggle through, and that is, to what degree am I okay with myself? And I think that's what the whole world is struggling with, is really struggling with the relationship that we have with ourselves. And if we cannot come to a point where we're understanding our strengths, our weaknesses, our personality, what we like, what we don't like, and we are struggling within ourselves, and we begin to then project onto others, and then maybe even reflect back what the world is saying that we have to be, and we don't match that, we don't come into that standard, then we'll go on a spiral of thinking that we are unworthy, that we are unlovable, unacceptable. And I'm here to tell you that that is totally untrue, and that the God of this universe, I call him Father God, that he knows exactly where you're at, knows who you are, and all he wants from you is to walk with him in this life and to begin to, as a child, develop a trusting relationship with him. And that's through you spend time with him. And as you begin to come closer and closer to him with this frame of reference, he will begin to unpack to you that his love is unconditional, and that he is here to walk with you in every sphere of life, in whatever stage of life you're in. And he is okay with you, that you were not born in sin, that there is nothing wrong with you, that he sees you as you are, spirit, soul, and body, and that you are completely acceptable and you are worthy. Why? Just for existing, just for being you. And when we can come and be grounded in that centered place of I am who I am, and that I'm grounded in the creator of all, that is what gives you the worth. And that same worth is given to every other human being on this planet. And when we recognize that, I see you, you see me, and nobody is above or below. We're all on the same spectrum. Some of us are a lot more attuned to what God is saying to us. Some are not, but that's really the spectrum. And so at the end of the day, what do we say? What do we think? What do we feel? What do we believe about ourselves? That matters a lot, because how we think about ourselves will determine our worldview of everything else. I'm Merci Mentor, and I am a trainer, a teacher, a theologian, and a transformation trainer, helping people to deconstruct, to reconstruct, come out of indoctrination and into investigation of what does the biblical text actually say about our nature, and what is the reality for us today, and how do we connect? How do we connect with the All-Father God? How do we connect to the creator of the whole universe? And what does he think of us today?